Yo guys, what's up? Two-wheel Turban, Stingray, out here on a beautiful day, probably around high 80s, blue skies, really nice out here. I love these twisties right here, and I always get scared there's a cop hiding, but they're pretty fun twisties. Oh, twisties are definitely super fun. Dude, I don't know what, is that a lady? Is that a man? Oh, okay, yep, that's a lady. I don't know if she heard me, but, yeah. I think that was a lady. Could be mistaken. You know what really always fascinates me is those, I don't watch a lot of MotoGP, pretty much like none at all, but, sometimes I watch like the highlights and stuff. And it just fascinates me how controlled those guys are while doing, you know, well over triple-digit speeds in corners that are probably pretty tight. I always thought that was so interesting. Like, I'm doing like 35 around these corners, and those guys could probably do like 60. And that's just mind-boggling to me. I guess it's just riding for such a long time, the technique, the confidence. It's crazy though. I'd definitely one day love to go to a track just to see, because sometimes I watch videos, I'm like, oh, I could do that, when in reality, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I probably could not do anything close to that. Those guys are ridiculously skilled, and not just in speed. Everyone thinks a lot of speed, and I used to think that too until someone brought up the point of how talented they are at braking. It's almost like braking might be more important than, it probably is more important than the actual speed, because it's like, you get up to this crazy speed, say 160 miles an hour, and then you got to slow down to 60 miles an hour within such a short period of time, and you're still trying to win the race. So it's like, oh, should I brake here, should I brake slower, and the next thing you know, you're off the track, or you crashed. So, it's crazy watching those guys. Those guys do not get the, I don't know what word, maybe like the respect they deserve. Alright guys, I'm going to try and answer a few of your guys' questions. Recently, I've seen some like repetitive questions like on some videos and just some comments that I thought maybe you guys would want to know some answers for. So I think one of them was, let's see, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, how do I wheelie? Or something along those lines, like how do you wheelie like you do? And I made a video on this. Oh, my horn doesn't work. Can't honk. But I made a video on that, but it wasn't that good, so I might make a second one that's a little more detailed, because I kind of went through that one kind of quick. But if you haven't seen that video, go check that out. And honestly, the reason I wheelie like I do, not saying I'm an expert or anything like that, but I'm pretty decent, is just seat time. It's all seat time, guys. I've had this bike for about 6 months, and I have 6,400 miles on it. That's pretty good for only having it that. It's just a lot of riding, and that's how to get good. You just gotta ride a lot. That's the truth. So yeah, that answers that question. Then there's that video. Let's see, another question. Oh yeah, I get this one a lot. Why don't you have sumo tires or get sumo tires? Okay, I'd love to have sumo wheels and sumo tires. They're sick. But the problem is the price. They're ridiculously expensive, guys. I'm pretty sure if I wanted some, they're around $1,200. Like, that is crazy. I don't know, that's a lot of money. I can't really justify that, because these knobbies are pretty good. And I know for a lot of you guys, it's probably just get sumos just to say you have a sumo, but I don't see it like that. So many guys have sumos. I like to be unique and be on knobbies. And I wheelie just as fine as guys on sumos. Off-roading is even better for me. The only thing is maybe guys on sumo tires can beat me in the twisties, but even that, I don't even see that really. Like, I mean, yeah, people probably could, but it's just not a big enough deal for me to worry about it. So yeah, sumo tires probably won't come. I would love to have them. I would just rather spend my money in so many different ways or save up for a different bike like a 600. So yeah, that answers that question. let's see, I'm trying to think of another question that comes up a lot. I think one of them was, what camera do I use? And the camera I use is a GoPro Hero 3 Silver. It's a pretty good camera. I was wanting to get the 4 Silver, but the problem is it's pretty expensive. It's $100 more than this one, and pretty much the only difference is the touch screen. So I was like, you know, might as well just get the 3 Silver, and so far it's pretty great. I like it a lot. Another question that is probably the most asked question is, why does your audio suck? Your audio is the worst. Like, comments like that. And, you know, I kind of agree with it. Like, my first few videos, or a lot of my first videos, the audio has been pretty trash due to my editing software that I use. I couldn't figure out how to change it to mono, so with headphones on, it's horrible. And a few times my mic setup was really bad. And a lot of that is due to my helmet. I have a dirt bike helmet, and they just have a bunch of airflow, and that airflow just makes the audio not as good. So during the winter I might switch back to my street helmet and get that audio a little bit better. But yeah, so that answers that question. I'll answer a few more after I try and go ship this letter. Let's go see if I can do it. Alright guys, just sent those stickers off to England, which is pretty crazy. Never thought I would, screw it, let's see, I'm in neutral. Never thought I would ship something off to England, so that's pretty cool to think about. I thought there was going to be like some crazy price of shipping it, but it wasn't bad at all. So yeah, if you guys live in Europe, I can ship to you, I guess. But yeah, so I think I was answering questions, and one of them was about my audio, which is probably the one I get the most comments about. Dude, bro, your audio sucks. Bro, fix your audio. Bro, this video is trash. Something along those lines. I get that a lot, that my audio is just completely just the worst out there. They've never heard audio so bad. And the reason it was like that, like I said, I had it in stereo, so basically when you put in headphones, it doesn't play the sound evenly between the right and left ear, so it makes it super annoying. And also my mic kind of sucked. My mic itself is actually a really good mic. My dead cat that I made wasn't that good, and what else? Oh yeah, my helmet. My helmet let a lot of airflow in, so it wasn't that good. So yeah, sorry about those older videos. They actually have really good content, just the audio sucks. So yeah, that's probably my most asked question. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, another question is probably like, how do you have your license at 16 years old? How are you riding at 16 years old? And I feel like a lot of these questions come from people in Europe because they have like the tiered licensing or something crazy like that. So like, how are you riding a 250 at 16? But yeah, it's actually normal here in the United States. Well, I don't know about the United States, but Texas, it's pretty normal. Well, I just lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Yeah, Texas, you can get your motorcycle permit at 15, actually, so you can technically be riding out on the streets at 15. You just have to have I think a guardian or parent alongside you within like 100 feet riding, or even in their car. So that's pretty cool about that. And then 16, you can get your license, and you are allowed to ride. Actually, no, they changed it. They used to say when you were 16, you could ride any bike. My friend recently got his license, and they limit to 500 cc's until you're 18. And if you're 15, you're limited to 250, which it doesn't matter for me because I've been on the 250 for a while. So I don't have any problem with that, and I like the 250, but I'll try to get a 600 as the next bike. That's definitely a dream for me, either like a CBR 600 or R6, but I'm leaning more towards the R6. It's just such a beautiful bike, and I've had the chance to ride it. I haven't had the chance to ride the CBR 600, so I don't really have an opinion on it. The R6 was awesome. I absolutely loved it, and also I rode my friend's 636, but it's like from 2003 or 2004, so it's kind of older, but it's still ridiculously fast, and it's pretty cool. But that 2000, I think my friend had 2008 R6, that was super cool. So yeah, R6, hopefully next bike. I don't see myself like getting a 450 Sumo. I don't know why. I don't think it's really necessary. I can wheelie this thing at 60 miles an hour if I wanted to. It wheelies just fine. It's not about the power, it's more about the skill in my opinion. But yeah, guys, I think there were probably some more questions. I'm going to try to think about some more. Let's see, what were some other ones? Yeah, what are, maybe another one's, what's a good beginner bike? I feel like I get that one a lot too. And a good beginner bike is a bike you feel comfortable on, you feel confident on. There's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I got to get a 600 or 1000 as my first bike, and that's the completely wrong idea. I've been riding for a really pretty long time. I'm pretty experienced. I'm not saying I'm extremely experienced, but I've had some experience on motorcycles. I've been on 600s. Trust me, they are not confidence expiring if you have no experience. They're really heavy compared to a 250, and at slow speeds can be kind of tough to handle. So if you're trying to get a 600 as your first bike, I pretty much go against it 99% of the time, unless you just know you can handle it. You're really responsible, which is so hard to come by, like someone that can hold themselves back, because those bikes are ridiculously unforgiving. You do something dumb on one of those and you are straight screwed, like no lie, because you give it a little twist of the throttle in the corner a little too much and bam, you're gone, dude. You are literally gone. You're gonna freaking low side, high side, every side. I don't even know what I'm saying, but yeah, 600's definitely not catch up to this guy. Yeah, 600s are definitely not the ideal beginner bike. I recommend more around a 250, 300, even a Grom. Grom's a great beginner bike. That was my first street bike that was the first bike I ever rode on the street, and that was such a confidence-inspiring bike that I learned a lot of my fundamentals on. So yeah, if you want a beginner bike, that's like the thing I kind of recommend. Let's see, what were some more questions that I've gotten? How long have I been riding for? So, I got my first bike at 4 years old. My dad bought me a CRF 50 at 4 years old, and I rode that till I was probably around maybe 8 or 9. And I didn't ride it around a bunch. I wasn't like that kid that did motocross or anything like that. It just, motorcycling happened to be, you know, dirt biking happened to be a hobby. And it wasn't it's not like I spent a bunch of time as I do now. But I feel like I learned so many great fundamentals on that bike. Just basic riding, like not on the street, just steering, throttle control, braking, etc. The stuff that you need on that 50. And I feel like that's what really helps me to where I am today. Like, say I just started riding a year ago. I know some friends that just recently started, and it's a lot harder because you just don't have that foundation that's already there. You have to start completely from scratch. And for me, I'd already felt what it's like to ride a motorcycle. I'd already kind of had the idea of shifting, etc., etc. The only thing I needed to learn how to do was shifting with the clutch, which I learned really quick, and that was probably one of the most satisfying things. I remember I came home from school one day. This was 2 days after getting my Honda Grom. I only rode it in the driveway because I was 13 years old. This was right when the Groms came out, and trying to make sure his car doesn't rear-end me. I like to look at him. It makes it hard for them to rear-end you if you're staring in the eyes. But yeah, I remember it was like 2 days after getting the Honda Grom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I could only ride it in first. My dad taught me how to like release the clutch, and guys, I literally stalled it probably like 10 times or 15 times, like right when I got it. Then I started to figure out clutch control, and I could stay in first. But I remember I was going down the drive, and I was like, that's it, two-wheel Turban. I didn't say two-wheel Turban because that's not a thing back then, but I said, all right, VJ, you're gonna shift this into second. So I pulled in that clutch and I just hit it second, let out of the clutch. And I was like, whoa, did I really just do that? And that was probably just as satisfying as learning, like, a wheelie. It was ridiculous. Because I remember as a kid, I used to have, like, dreams about shifting and just riding street bikes. So I don't know why. But I just remember being so happy doing that. And I, like, flipped out. I was like, oh my gosh, I just shifted into second gear. It's like, who brags about that? But yeah, I was just so proud of myself for that. Like, who goes around to another biker, dude, I learned how to shift into second gear. No one does that. But yeah, so you just gotta learn and build off of what your experience is. Even if you have zero experience, you will get there if you want to get there. If you want to become a good rider, anyone can become a good rider, in my opinion. It's not like some people are born with it and some people are born without it. I think everyone has it. So yeah, guys, I think I answered a few questions. I could be forgetting a lot, but I might make another one sometime in the future. But I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, hit that like button. Shows that you guys liked the video. Comment below what you guys think and subscribe. Alright, see you guys.